Yes, we are here.
Ali, tell me, who's your favorite radio host? Who's your favorite radio host?
My favorite host is not you, Hatim.
What do you mean not me? What do you mean not me? Do you know anyone else who's on the radio except me? Plus, I'm your buddy. Why am why I'm not your favorite radio host?
Because I have my own, style, and maybe you're not my type, man.
So who's your favorite radio host?
You want to find out?
Yes, I would definitely.
Okay. In a bit.
Okay. All right.
Assalamu alaikum. And welcome
Wa
to
alaikum
Chapter
salam.
Way in the Ummati station. How are you, Hatim?
Good. What about you? How's things?
I'm doing very well.
I'm still offended that I'm not your favorite radio host.
Oh, I thought
You'll
already
have to,
you already forgot about
No.
it. It's been like few seconds and it's gone. Why are you still taking it,
No.
man?
You'll have to buy me dinner or something to make up, because I'm hurt.
Well, it's not Valentine anymore.
Okay. Honestly speaking, have you ever heard any of my shows on the radio, Ali? No, I guess no. Okay. And anyways, today we're going to talk about radio programs, and we have a very special guest today. He is Mr. Good Morning Oman, Mr. Adam Cole. Salam alaikum.
Alaikum salam and good morning or good evening, Oman. Good evening, Ali. Good evening.
Good evening to you, Adam. Good evening.
How
I was
are you,
enjoying
Adam?
your, alhamdulillah, I was really enjoying your banter between each other. That was very, very funny.
Adam, I'm sure a lot of people recognize your voice, but maybe they've never seen you before. So can you do an intro on Oman that you do on Oman Radio? Good morning, Oman, so that people at least would have a feel. Who's this? Come on, give us one intro.
You're listening to your nation station, coming to you live from the Ministry of Information. My name is Adam Cole, and you got me until 10 this morning on Good Morning, Oman.
Oh, nice.
That's great. Adam, I think, I'm talking about myself personally. I grew up listening to the radio, since the 80s and the 90s, whenever we're in the car. At that time, we didn't have CD players or anything else. We just had Oman FM. And, I remember in 2012, when I joined Oman Radio, and met you guys, Mubarak Riyami, Lakshmi, and everybody else. I was like, oh, I can't believe it. My favorite stars. Finally, I got to see you.
Oh,
and
so
it's
you're talking about 2010.
2012, when I joined them.
It's been a long
12,
time.
Yes, I joined them in 2012, and I was really fascinated with the world of the radio. How things functions, the people with the voice, you for so many years you hear them but you don't see them. And then suddenly you get the privilege to see these guys. It's amazing. Tell us a little bit about your background, Adam. How did you start in the radio? I'm sure you have an interesting story.
And I want you to actually go back to even if childhood, if it's possible. I don't know.
Yeah, I think it has to go back there, doesn't it, guys? I think I remember my Uncle Peter So my Uncle Peter, my mum's younger brother, bought me a one of those old Ferguson cassette recorders for a Christmas. And he'd recorded
Yes.
on cassette tapes some of the music that he really liked. You know, it was music of the 50s and 60s, and this was the 1970s at the time.
Does it look like
And it
this?
came with a microphone. Exactly, that's the baby. Well, it looks a bit bigger than what I remember.
It got fatter.
And yeah, and it came with this microphone with an on and off switch, and you could record your voice to the cassette, you know. And I remember going straight out, because on the cassettes as well, you'd have these little punches, these little plastic tabs that you could punch out, and it meant that you couldn't record over the tapes again.
Oh yeah.
You remember that?
Mm-hmm.
But if you got
Yes,
little bits of paper and you stuffed them in the little holes, it means that you could reuse the cassettes, you know. You remember? Yeah, so yeah, we're all showing our age now.
And do you know the
Adam.
relationship between that cassette and this pen or pencil?
Oh yeah, I've unwound and rewound many cassettes, yes. And that's a good story,
Adam.
isn't it? That's a good story. Yes.
Adam, I think the generation of the 90s and the 2000, they're lost. They don't know what we're talking about.
They won't.
They
won't
don't know what
relate.
we're talking about.
Yeah.
I remember taking this cassette recorder onto buses, to school, going into shops and making interviews with people on buses, asking other schoolmates what they wanted, what they got in their packed lunch today from their mum, onto the bus driver, you know, what's your job like? To other passengers on the bus, getting off, walking along, and just interviewing people and just being fascinated by playing back these recordings. And I think that was the first sort of buzz, really, to get me interested in radio, making media, and being involved with entertainment. Full stop, really. You know, ever since then, you know.
You are natural, Adam. You are natural. I think you have it in you.
People have always said I've got the gift of the gab, but to be honest with you, I think it's just a confidence thing. And luckily, I was given the confidence by my father. I remember when I was about 16. This was at Portsmouth. This is jumping forward a few years, at Portsmouth Guildhall. Portsmouth is where I'm from, in the south of England. And there was a lady there called Kim Marie, and she had a fashion show, and the DJ hadn't turned up to do and now on the catwalk this afternoon, would you please welcome, and it was different brands from leather fashions to various tailors locally, and she just needed somebody to do it. And she knew me, she knew I was interested in music. Would you be the compere for this show? It'll only last half an hour. And I just went and did it. She gave me a sheet of paper to read, and luckily I wasn't on the stage, so it was just like being on the radio. So you didn't see me, but you heard the voice, and so you were using your voice to create this image, you know, of this man or whatever, this sort of rock star type of voice. And I remember my dad coming up to me afterwards, and my dad, he would say if something was bad, and compliments were due, and he came up and he had tears in his eyes. He said, "That was absolutely marvelous, son. You've got a career in this." And I think, just pursuing it, it takes a lot of time and a lot of luck and some good breaks and some connections and communication with different people to break into radio, TV, music, as you probably will know yourselves, but luckily, along the way, along with playing guitars in bands and what have you, you get to meet and be interviewed by various people along the way. So I was very fortunate, especially when I came to the Gulf, of being able to be that English voice on government radios here, largely.
Maybe that should be our next question. How were you able to actually join the radio in Oman? Oh.
Well, you mentioned Hatim when you were growing up here, Lakshmi, and when I first, well, there was Lakshmi, and there was another gentleman. This was going back to when I first arrived in Oman, which was 1989. And I was working for the Novotel group at the time as a musician in a restaurant here, in a venue. Actually, right by where I used to live, it used to be called the Sieb Novotel, which is now gone, and there's a new Novotel.
It's gone.
You probably know.
It's gone.
It's gone. You know, it's all gone.
The roundish hotel.
Yeah, it was very Art Deco, if I remember. But we got a break there, and there was another gentleman singing with us, an African who had taken the nationality. His name was Sal Davis, and he was quite a famous singer back in the day in Tanzania and Kenya and around. And he was working here as well. He was a fabulous singer and a fabulous man. And he said, "So what do you do with yourself, And I said, "Well, I write songs and I like to record. I'm fascinated with recording people's voices. And okay, you want to come on the radio? I've got a little show on the radio on Oman FM. Come on down." So that night he took me to the station and he played my music on the radio, and we talked about it and talked about life, similarly to what we're talking about now, in actual fact. And that was my in. And then a little while later, we met Lakshmi. Lakshmi interviewed us on a show, and then we gave a proposal to another one that you just mentioned, Mubarak Royami, who was a lifelong friend of mine since that time in the late 80s as well.
I think the names that I'm hearing right now, I think they're just voices with no faces. I don't know what faces we're talking about.
Yeah, people know them by their names and their voices, but a lot of people. I remember when I saw Mubarak the first time, and I said, "Are you sure you're Mubarak?
You don't sound like him. You don't look like the sound.
You don't look like the guy that I had in mind." Yeah, and even a few years later, when I started my career at the radio, I went to the Grand Mosque, and I met there an Indian doctor, and he introduced himself, and then I introduced myself. I said, "My name is Hatim Ali ABDISSALAM," and he said, "You're the little boy in the radio?" And I said, yes, I am the little boy in the radio.
Wow.
Because everybody says that on the radio I sound like a teenager. I said, okay, that's a compliment.
I never noticed that. Maybe because I know you.
Maybe a lot of the time as well, there's Sheikh Hatim and your other Sheikh, the assistant to the Mufti, isn't that right?
Mufti, yes.
Yeah, and you're Sheikh Kahlan, and you're asking him the questions as he's the scholar and you're the under scholar, I guess. Maybe that's where
the student.
You're the student, yeah. Maybe that's why. I don't know, but that's what is the most captivating thing about radio, is the listener of radio, and it's like looking at a fine piece of art. You can you've got some guidelines, but you can. It's easier to make your own mind up, I think, a little bit about what's being said.
Exactly. It's like reading a book and in a novel, and then imagining the faces until they make a movie out of it. Then it's gone.
Adam, let me tell you something funny. When we were young, still in school, we were in the car with Dad listening to the shows you guys do on the FM, and you always said, whoever wants to call, you can call 24602058. And every time we keep on calling and calling and calling, it's just busy. We don't get the line. It's like a miracle if you get a line and appear on the radio. And then when I started doing the shows on the radio, the first year when I did the live show, people still don't know me that well, and they are not used to my programs. So we knew that we had a live show, and we're expecting people to call. And every time during the show, I was like, please, anyone, call. Just please call. Please.
Oh, man.
So it's interesting, isn't it, how that works? Yeah.
Yeah.
What about now then, Hatim? Is it the other way around? Please stop calling.
No. Now I'm every time I do a live show, I'm terrified because I have crazy friends who like to do pranks. And
I'm not one of them.
No, you're not one of them.
You're one of them, Ali. There he is, it's him.
Once I was doing a live show in Ramadan, and someone, one of my crazy friends, called on air, and he said, Hatim, so what happened to the plan of getting a second wife? Is it still on?
Oh, no.
And I was like, no, please. You'll get me shot.
No. Very good.
So sometimes you get the unexpected. So you have to be very careful. You have to have the red button.
Yeah, that's the tax you pay when you do live shows, right?
Yeah. But it's fun. It's a lot of fun. I think interacting with people, getting to hear them say their opinion, join you the conversation, and so on. It's an amazing feeling. And
I want to also remind our viewers to please comment so that you can share your questions, views, and anything on this show. Please feel free to do that.
So, Adam, what do your friends think of you when they know that you're working in the radio, listening to you on Oman, Good Morning Oman, and so on? How is that working out with you?
That's very interesting. Here in Oman, we are, there's a few of us, but our community here is quite small compared to the UK. So everybody kind of knows each other anyway. It's almost Muscat, as big as it is. We could look at it as a bit of a village, in as much as everybody knows each other's business a lot of the time, and what have you. So here, it's just another job. But I do some broadcasting for a radio, for a community radio in my hometown. I mentioned earlier I'm from Portsmouth in the south of England, and I've just started doing similarly to this. A web broadcast, but just purely radio, so it's just geared for audio, and they're reconnecting with old friends from school days, so going back 40 years or so, and people there kind of think that you're famous and you're a bit of a legend, a bit of a superstar. So, but here we're just two a penny trash,
It's surprisingly, Adam, you said that you're from Portsmouth. Do you know that most of the Omanis are based in Portsmouth? Isn't that amazing?
I didn't know that.
Lots of Omanis, yeah. I actually, with the former Sultan Jamshid, who is now back with us here, with some of his kids, I was at school with at Court Lane Junior School in Cosham, and I still have contact with several of them now, and some of the Al Rayami family, lots of Al Rayamis and Al Sayyids, Al Saidi, Al Maskaris, and a few other families that have remained in Portsmouth because it was their home since the the African
Yeah.
Zanzibar revolution back there in 1960, I think, was it, somewhere along the line. But yeah, so I do know that. And this is another story. When I first came here, long story short here, just 1989, we were setting our guitars up for a show at the Sieb Novotel. And it was for the Eid period after Ramadan. And of course, a very joyous occasion, for all. And two Omani gentlemen came in and they started talking, and it was in this accent, except it was, "Hey Hamdi, Sadie, come here, mate. Can you sort this out?" And blah blah blah. Oi, get me one of them and bring it over. And I looked around and I said, "Excuse me, are you from Portsmouth?" But they were wearing Omani Adissadasha and they went, "Adam Cole, what are you doing here? We didn't invite you."
Oh, man.
And so, this has happened many times in the times, since that late 80s until now. Still now, you meet somebody that lived in Portsmouth. I've even met one guy that actually stayed with his wife for 3 months at my mum and dad's guest house in Portsmouth while they did he was military, he was Navy,
Amazing.
and he was doing some military course there for the commissioning of a new ship which came from Portsmouth for His Majesty's Royal Navy here. So lots of connections. It's a small world, isn't it, gents?
It's a small world.
Yeah,
It's a small world. It's a small world. But how did you manage to cope with life in Oman, Adam, especially with the heat?
Well, very good. Yeah. Well, of course, like you learn many Arabic ways very, very quickly. And one thing I do know is Arabs love air conditioning, So I became addicted to air conditioning quite quickly. And then, I guess maybe because of, our makeup as coming from a different country, and first going in and out, of course, you're forever getting colds and flus and various viruses.
Yeah.
But now, and I can say this for at least, as much as I can remember, more than 10 years, maybe 15 years, I'm pretty used to it. It doesn't look like it, but I live quite a varied life, but I'm into my fitness. I like cycling a lot. I've got a nice bicycle. I like walking a lot. I try to run a bit, but it's not so good on the knees at my age. But I'm out in it, and now we're back up to temperatures of 35, 36 some afternoons. It's fine. Of course, when it starts to really get up there, that's always when it gets to the high 40s.
June, July.
Yeah, we're on the way. I know.
Yeah.
But is that the time when you decide to go back home?
Well, traditionally we have, that's right, or go somewhere for at least a few weeks, or that's correct. When the going gets tough, the tough get going, I guess.
Yeah, definitely.
Adam, what are the skills required for someone to have to be able to do what you do on the radio? I mean, to be a radio host, to be a talk show host, or just to be on the radio. So a lot of young people, they look up to us, having this is the dream job. What skills should you have?
I guess you've got to decide where you're going. You mentioned talk show. There's the other side, where is the disc jockey side, and then there's the general presenter, that can be a newsreader. So you have to establish where you want to go. But really, the basic skills, there's probably only 2 or 3. The most basic one, if you call it a skill, is just your passion for wanting to spread useful information to people, or what you consider to be useful. I think I was working for 10 years as a music director at one of the international schools here, ABA. And when I gave my notice in, the boss, she came to me and she says, "Adam, what do you want to go and do a stupid job like that for?"
Yeah.
And I said, "But ma'am, it's my dream." She says, Why do you want to do it? And I said, "Well, it's just like being a teacher, except, I didn't say except the children aren't in the classroom with you, so that's very, but it's if I can deliver meaningful information, whether it be about the news, whether it be about how to make the best hummus, or how to write a song, or how to just communicate with people, then I think that's something special. Interviewing people, if you're just interviewing people, if it's a quick one, like you sometimes will get a minister that will say, "Okay," and you're at the presentation of an award, "Excuse me, sir, please just, oh, all right then, 1 minute. What do you want? How is it going to work?" And you just think on your feet. So I always think, where have you come from? What you're doing here? Where you're going? So tell us a little bit about yourself. What's going on today? What's been your role in it? And where do we move from here? Is that all right? And put them at ease, smile, but be professional. Make them, they don't want to look an idiot, that's the thing. Nobody wants to look an idiot, on TV or radio. And radio perhaps even more so, because as we've already established in our time together this evening, that people can make their mind up a lot clearer and digest the information that they're hearing. I absolutely adore my job as a radio presenter. It even has superseded
I noticed
teaching.
that. I noticed that when I come to the radio station, I see you, from behind the screen, you're moving your hands and you're smiling and you're having a good time.
Yeah, I really love it. Well, thank you for noticing that. And I think if you can transfer that energy, because it is energy, through the microphone to the people, and make people feel good in the morning, or feel maybe a little bit sad or nostalgic, by changing your voice, but giving the energy to somebody that's something that really is the big skill, I think.
I used to think that it's more about your voice, and you picked up or chosen to be a radio host because you have a good voice. Does that really matter?
Me too, Ali. I thought the same thing. I thought the same thing.
I think you're right. I think because it's just like looking at the label on a chocolate bar or on a ice lolly when you're a kid, and you go for the most colorful one, but then you go for the most colorful looking ice lolly rather than the plain one. Even the chocolate one didn't do it, because brown, it's a little bit boring, but of course when you bite into it, there's the ice cream inside. But so the packaging, the sound of the voice is very, very, very important. Are you listening? And that gets the attention.
In the night.
Yes, exactly. Definitely, you can work on your golden voice, but at the end of the day, you've still got to have something to say. Content. You've got to have something that connects with another human. I heard this fantastic speech the other day. And it's very, very sad. A friend of ours recently passed away, and they had the online funeral service, and it was basically a lady that passed away. It was very sudden, very, very sad.
Sorry to hear that. Sorry
to hear that.
And the husband, it was the most incredible speech. he gave, and it was online because there's only for any sorts of ceremonies like this, you know, you could have like 6 people, something like that, you know. And he said about his wife that she had said to him one thing earlier on in her career when they first get together, and what she said, and it really rang true with me, and I thought, oh, this is just everything. And her what she told him years ago was, let me get this exactly right. She said, when 2 individuals meet, it is an opportunity to exchange kindness. Khalas.
Amazing.
And that was it. Yeah. And I think, and it's really changed. It's something which I've always wanted to do, and I've never been 100% not like that. It's something that I'd always want to aspire to be whenever I meet somebody, whether it's somebody new or somebody I've known for my life, my whoever. Be kind, you know, and see, and a kindness is not just with words. It's, people know if you're genuine. They can smell a rat, you know, if you're talking rubbish, you know, or not genuine. They know, you know.
Very true.
And as a radio presenter, if you can get that across, the kindness, the energy of the kindness, then that would be probably my next big skill that I would say is very important for a chat show type host, or even if you're just delivering information like reading the weather. I read the weather. I love reading the weather. I make reading the weather an art. I make reading the weather, you would want to listen to. You want to re-record.
Yes, let's do it. Let's do it.
Let's do it, Adam. Let's do one weather.
Just a second before you do that. If you can, Adam, if you can hang up and join again because you're freezing, and then once you join, we can do that. Yeah.
All right. Okay, we'll do that. All right.
All right.
Ali,
I think Hatim, even you have that issue with your network.
do you want me to hang up?
No, it's okay. It's okay for now. Otherwise, I'll be left alone. Man, don't leave me alone.
You'll be the radio host, and you can tell us what to do.
I'll be the radio host. Welcome to Chataway.
Surprisingly, Ali, that people can feel every single thing when you're on the radio. When they hear you from at home or in the car. Sometimes my friends tell me after the show, it looks like you are having a laugh there in the studio, you know, before the show, because you sounded funny in one way or the other.
Yeah.
So people actually can feel you through your voice, the vibes. Is
Amazing.
Adam back?
Adam should be back. Let me just see. Welcome to Adam.
Hey, and I'm back. How about that?
Good. Amazing.
I think,
the weatherman.
The weatherman. Well, I'll tell you something funny about the weather. I will do a weather forecast reading for you right now. And I think this is a skill, and this is definitely something which I love doing. I'm just trying to get up the forecast, which I had to read a little earlier. Now, bearing in mind, I mentioned earlier I was doing a community program, a 2-hour program for Portsmouth, my hometown. The weather is different there. Okay.
Yeah.
The weather is different there. Have you got some weather music for me, Mr. Ali?
I don't. I can.
What's the weather music?
You know, something like
weather music.
Ali weather. Extensive cloud cover with very little in the way of sunshine today. Some sunny spots of rain and drizzle can be expected, but these will be few and far between. High temperatures of 8 degrees Celsius this afternoon and early evening. Outlook, a dry but cloudy Sunday expected with some bright spells. Wishing you another safe Saturday.
MashaAllah. Amazing. Amazing.
So there you go.
Amazing.
8 degrees Celsius. We're almost 38 degrees here. 8 degrees Celsius.
Wow. Man.
And that's hot for them at the moment.
That's hot. Yeah.
Adam,
It's heated up a bit. Yes, Habibi.
Adam, I'm sure that during these past years, you had some loyal listeners who always call on the show. You know, do you have people like that? They call you like every single day.
Apart from Hatim.
I have a list. I have a list of them now, and all the people which contribute regularly, I call them. This is a trade secret, but it's quite obvious. This is how it works. I make a list of these people, and they're called my super callers. Okay, so I call them my super callers. And from time to time, when I've got a question, which I think that they'd be useful for their input, if they're not listening, then I'll give them a little nudge. You know, I'll send them a WhatsApp or a mention that today's question deals with this or this issue, and would you like to be part of it? And of course, everyone wants to be part of it, you know, if they've got something to say, which is good. I believe I've had you on the show several times, Hatim, as well, for the same, you know,
Me?
the various issues. You, my friend.
I know why he asked that question. He just wanted to hear his name.
You were most excellent. You're my hero, brother. You're my hero, you know.
But the reason why I'm asking you this question is sometimes you have this one call on the show that makes a lot of difference. It touches you in a place.
Yeah.
They say something to you that makes like the whole world glow. Did you have such experience?
All the time. I'm not being big-headed. It's not because of me. It might be because I've facilitated the opportunity a little bit. But whenever I have anybody on the show, there's always magical moments. There's always something that happens, and it's generally something which isn't on the script, which isn't on the bullet point. I make loose bullet points with my interviewees. Let's come in with this. We can maybe talk a little bit more about that. And why don't you talk about that at the end? But let's make it like this, exactly like this conversation now, interesting and from the heart and fun. You know, there's got to be a bit of fun, even in terrible moments. You know, some light at the end of the tunnel. You know. So yes, in answer to that, Hatim, there's always magical moments, and that's what's great about radio. There's always those magical things that happen, which is unexpected, and it's like, oh, that was fantastic, you know.
You've spoken about radio now. If we, let's say, compare between radio and television, I'm not sure if you can relate to that. What do you think of that experience? A person who's a radio host as opposed to a TV host.
They're similar things, but you're dealing so much more with your body image and the way that you present yourself. As you can see, I'm talking with my hands all the time, and I'm very animated. And because I'm used to talking using my voice to get the message across, with body language, that's a whole nother area. I've been this side of the camera many times. working with, as I mentioned, I worked in media with school children, teaching kids how to use media, make programs, and the like, do filming and news filming. So I understand what it's like. It's not for me, definitely, even though I like it now and then, and I'll watch some old video of me reading a news bulletin for demonstration purposes or whatever. But I think it's a slightly, there's a different thing going on inside the person that wants to be on the camera, I think.
So your preference would be radio, I think, not television, if you are chosen.
Yeah, you have to imagine, well, you have to know that Hatim and myself, we both have the perfect face for radio.
Is that what a nice oxymoron, man?
I don't know if that is a compliment, but okay, we'll take it.
Oh, man.
It's an old radio saying, you know, I've got the perfect face for radio.
You reminded me. I actually, Hatim, I don't know if you know that, but I actually tried to apply to become a news host on television.
Okay.
Or radio. I mean, either one of them, but mainly radio because I wanted to hide myself. So I don't remember who I met at that time. It was a long time ago, and they tested me.
Did it work out?
Well, they tested me, but it didn't go through. So I got disappointed, and I never thought about it again.
Sorry, Ali, you don't have the face. You don't have the face for radio.
Yeah, man. I'm okay. I'm okay with my live show on YouTube.
There you go. You finally found it. Yeah. Well, you're welcome to come along again and audition for us, Ali. All right.
Shh. Nobody heard that.
Adam,
yes, Hatim.
Knowing you being a very energetic person and a very happy person, when you're doing the radio shows, especially the morning show, I want you to describe to me how you were able to hide that energy the day His Majesty passed away. I mean, that must have been a very difficult thing to do early in the morning, to present that sort of news, which is not something that comes every single day.
Yeah, well, that was out of my hands. You know, we immediately decided that we would respect by pulling back, and Talal made the announcement. The weight went on Talal's shoulders that he had to break the news to the world that what had happened overnight, you know, with His Majesty Sultan Qaboos, and we stood back and we waited for the 40 days, and then we all went to work and we were all pleasant to each other. It was, you know, it was sad, but it was also a really, really reflective and wonderful time for us to sort of look back on the achievements and how we were going to gradually introduce back ourselves to the nation after the 40 days mourning. But it was I remember every day from that day back in January 2020, and going into work and what I did. It was, and up until then, there'd been nothing, you know, there'd been, for us in Britain, there'd been Princess Diana who died.
Yes.
And that was the day, that was the day the world stopped for us. You know,
September 1997, I believe.
Yeah, there you go. Well done, Annie. And this was so much bigger, you know. So I just felt so much more part now of this culture and what it meant. But it was, you know, we're talking about some real achievements over the 50 years. So,
Yeah.
and we still will be, you know, there's museums built, there's more
Yes.
museums coming up, and I know there's one
Yeah.
outside of Nizwa, which is going to be, you know, incredible, not to be talked about. There's other, you know, it's just amazing legacy, an amazing legacy, you know. And yeah, we felt it was a bad time, difficult time, but nobody knew what was going to happen. The media, it was all so well done, and what we saw on the media, on the social media, with the day His Majesty was gone, you know, and it was
I think
sometime we'll never
I think
forget.
yeah, sometimes Adam, as a radio host, we are faced with circumstances that we need to cope with, and sometimes it's difficult. I remember in one of the shows I had in Ramadan, the guests spoke for the first few minutes when I was interviewing him, and then he suddenly stopped. He started weeping, and then he left the studio. And this was a live show, and I had to continue for 1 hour with the topic all alone.
Wow.
And that was a very difficult thing to.
Yeah.
I didn't know what was going on with the guest, why he started suddenly crying. I don't know, a member of the family departed or what happened, and he just decided to leave the studio. He opened the door and he left. And that was very difficult to deal with.
But well done to you for being able to keep going. You know, what did you draw, where did you find the strength, and where did you find the information to make it last?
You know,
so long?
the difficult part was not to continue, but the difficult part was the emotional part, being occupied, wanting to know what was wrong with the person. I felt pity and sympathy for that person, and I wanted to check on him to make sure that everything was okay. But the guys behind the scene, they were just telling me, "Go on, continue. You're on air. We can't do anything about it." So,
That's right.
Guess what the topic? I will never forget this. The topic of that day was seeking happiness in life.
Right. Okay. Well, you'd be a master at that, wouldn't he, Ali? I'm sure you'd be a master at seeking happiness.
I mean, I'm thinking about how he handled that situation.
I don't want to remember, man. I don't want to remember. It was the worst day of my life.
Wow. Oh, but good for you. You know, that's a real learning opportunity, isn't it? And we've seen this through dreadful things happening, difficult situations over the last 12 plus months, on how we can make those positives, you know, bring those positives out. And I think that's something humankind has been discovering all over the planet, all over this beautiful little blue planet, which has had a little bit of a break from car exhausts and machinery and damage to the planet, you know, had a little bit of a break. And some of us are realizing that even more. That's one big positive. And hopefully we can all be better for this dreadful thing and not go back to our evil ways.
But I believe you guys have a wonderful job. You know, you're spreading a message in a different way, and you have your listeners who are always there for you. So it is a good job. And I actually have a comment here. Let me just try and open this comment.
Right.
Hold on a sec. By Asma. It is really interesting episode. I enjoyed listening to Mr. Adam.
Oh, very nice. I've got a couple of questions here on my social, actually.
He's going to interview us, Hatim. Be careful.
Well, no, it's just saying. You talked about vaccinations earlier on. How do you convince people to have them? Is a question from Mr. H in Adeba this evening. How, you know, many people. I've had many friends. Obviously, I'm almost, not quite, but almost of the age to be legible for my jab. But I've been told I can get it on Sunday because there's not many people turning out for the vaccination. How do we convince people to have them? I would say, for me, I'm definitely for the vaccinations. Have the vaccination is my advice. What do you guys think?
You know, one of my friends called me 2 days back, and he said, "You guys, you're on the media, and you're not really talking about the reality of vaccination, and it's here to kill us. It's a conspiracy, and so on." And I said, "Listen, brother, let me tell you something. For us to speak about something, you have to be knowledgeable about it. You know, me as Hatim, I'm not a doctor. I'm not a politician.
Yeah.
I didn't work in the lab and know what's in the vaccine. You know, I can't tell you whether it's good or bad. I can tell you what the government says and the doctors what they say. I can tell you that, but I can't tell you my opinion, and I can't deceive or delude people into an idea while I'm not an expert in that area. So I think sometimes just people getting information from all sorts of sources, and they don't have the trust anymore to whom to believe.
Yeah.
And this has become a problem.
But don't you think this is based on something happened in the past? Maybe don't you think so? Something happened. They've been told to follow, and then I don't know. It went the other way around.
Well, nobody knows, Ali. Nobody actually knows, because you know, the people who are scientists, who are doctors, who are working with these vaccines, they can tell you the facts. Okay. Whether they are real facts or they are just information, but at least they are better than us in presenting this information.
Definitely.
Because today, if you ask me, Hatim, what's the content of this vaccine? I don't know.
Yeah.
How is it made? I don't know.
Definitely,
What does it do? I don't know.
Yeah.
So I can't preach about something that I don't know.
That you don't know. I think that would be my answer as well. I mean, unless I'm a specialist, otherwise I won't tell you to whether go ahead and do it or not. But if you feel you want to go ahead and do it, just go ahead and do it. If you don't want,
it just I get that. I think people do get that, and but at the same time, there has been a lot of deceit, perhaps, around the world in the past. Definitely, I really don't believe that we're being deceived. I really, really firmly believe, from what I've read, that we should be vaccinated. We should have the vaccines, and we shouldn't question it. There'll always be a chance that there is going to be adverse effects, but I think it's very, very slim. I think a lot of politics are involved with the different manufacturers of the vaccines, the British and the Americans, as usual, playing their little role in this opportunity, you know. But everyone else as well. Yeah, I can't see it being a bad thing. I think it can only be a good thing for everyone to have both. And that's I'm not speaking as a doctor. It's just my gut feeling. And it makes a lot of sense, you know. It makes for me, it makes more sense than avoiding a needle.
Than avoiding it, yeah.
Yeah,
Right.
Maybe sometimes people just terrified of the needle, Adam. All
I
this
think
fuss
that's
because of the needle.
Well, yeah, I
Yeah,
remember we had this thing at school. I've still got the mark called the BCG. When we were kids, we
Ah,
yeah.
were, yeah, I don't know if
I
you had
had
it,
it
and there
too.
was
I had it too.
measles, mumps, this and that. There was like, like four vaccines in one,
and we just used to
and
take them without worrying.
I
Yeah,
remember being very
go
worried.
ahead.
My mum convinced me it will be fine, son. Just look out the window when you see them drawing. And
Yeah.
I went into the school office where it was happening, and I was just looking out the window all the time, and up went the sleeve. And is it done yet? Oh, it's over. And a few days later, it came up in a little bit of a bump, but it was all right.
Yeah.
I'm
Yeah.
going to have my vaccination tomorrow, my first one tomorrow. So
Oh.
Good luck with that.
if you don't
Good
hear
luck
me
with
on the
that,
radio,
Let me know, and then maybe a week later I'll do it. Just let me know that
Okay.
you're around.
and Ali, I will come and collect you and take you, all right? And I'll hold your hand,
Good.
brother, all right?
No problem.
Good luck with that. Adam and Ali, once they start giving the vaccination orally, please call me.
Okay. Oh, so you're
Okay.
the afraid of the needle.
He's the one. He's the one,
He's
man.
Adam, I have an intriguing question. In the radio business, are we threatened by the modern means of broadcasting, like podcast?
Like Ali's
is
show.
the radio going to disappear soon?
No, not unless. No, we have to continue making meaningful content. We provide more than podcasts in as much as we provide company. A lot of our time is spent alone, driving cars to work,
Yes.
in other parts of the world as well. Certainly in Britain, where I'm from, people still have radios in their house, in the kitchen. When they get up in the morning at 6 o'clock or whatever time, the radio goes on and it stays on all day. It's company for people, and people get their information from the radio. People rely on the radio still.
Yeah.
It's changed a lot for sure. There are a lot of modern broadcasters that have really embraced social media so well that they've dovetailed it together so it works hand in hand with radio. No, I don't believe. I think there's coming up now with the internet as well. There's even more radio stations. What is difficult, certainly in the Western world, is to find good paid work, I would say, good paid work in the media.
Yes.
Yeah.
Because it's everyone's dream to be some sort of TV or radio star, as we mentioned earlier on. A lot of people like that idea. A lot of people probably don't quite understand what's involved with it as well. But it certainly is an appealing world, which looks glamorous. It's not, but it's a profession. It's a profession, and should be developed more and embrace technology. So no, I don't think radio will go away, Ali.
Adam, I have I'm curious about the microphone, the setup that you have in your house.
Yeah.
Do you do podcast or what? And what's the reason for having that in your house?
As I'm not really. We based this interview around radio, but of course, my second love, my other passion, after life and radio, is of course is music and composing music and performing other people's music. So this setup here is a multimedia sort of setup, a basic one, but it's heavily on more the musical side. You can see guitars behind. I've got my big jazz guitar here. This is my favorite guitar at the moment. This is a 1960s guitar, in actual fact. So
Does your wife get jealous of your guitars, Adam?
actually, not at all. And she is an incredible person that really does encourage me to be myself, and it's a wonderful relationship. No, she not at all, not at all.
Adam,
There has been
you
yes,
you
Habibi.
you're more into playing the music or writing the music?
Very good question. Very good question. I've discovered that I have a talent, not a talent. I've learned this. I've learned how to write basic music, song type songs, jazzy instrumental tunes, full guitar, and I get a lot of satisfaction out of that. Satisfaction is a key as well. We've talked about skills. Well, being satisfied, I would say, is a skill to nurture as well. How to satisfy, and you talked about reading books. Ali did earlier. That can be very satisfying. Making your own mind up what it all looks like through the words that you're reading. And music is just the same. Music is very expressive for me. Music can tell stories to people that words can't. That's what I believe. I do a training. I'm involved with training at the radio station. It's part of my gig
Mashallah.
there. And the last training session we did was a 3-day session, and we covered everything from listening to different types of music for different occasions, from listening to holy prayers from the Quran, to listening to music for weddings, for celebrations, for feasts, listening to other music, folk music from different parts of the world, different instruments, different voices. Then we had a day on African drumming, which was the busiest day. Everyone turned up for that day, And then
everybody loves the African drums, man.
Yeah. Well, it was
Why?
And do you know why? I'll tell you for why. Because two things. One, because everyone had a chance to do something. Everyone had a chance to be touchy-feely with some instruments, some drumming instruments, but the big thing was, and this is another one of these, what I call them, not mistakes, but things that weren't planned that happen, which turn out to be really great. Mm-hmm. Because you have 6 or 7 or 8 or say 10 people, all with drums, playing together, and it's just simple. Dum dum da, dum 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 da, dum 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 da, dum dum da, dum dum. You do that for 10 minutes, and after 10 minutes, the whole of the drum circle can do that, and they can do it together. And this is the thing. This is the thing. Doing something together. Everyone. This was older people. This was younger people. This was guys. This was females in the same room playing drums together, smiling. All from different walks of life. Omanis, mainly Omanis, but there was from Philippines, from India, British. There was a European girl. There was another African lady. It was wonderful. It brought everyone together, and we don't often experience that, being radio presenters, engineers, because we're all focused on our sort of narrow little corridor of life, but suddenly we were the lid was off, in a controlled environment. Of course, I was teacher, for the day, 2-3 days, as I said, and that was Adam, brilliant. Yeah.
Adam, being in the Middle East and being a musician, have you tried playing the oud?
Oh yeah. Well, I'm just gonna, if I can just demonstrate something to you. This is my guitar. Now, if I bring the camera down, you can see the guitar a little bit better. The guitar, as we know it, originally obviously was the oud, because the guitar, historically, the first things that came from these lands, the culture, and went back to Europe and to what we now call Western civilization. A lot of those instruments were from this region. I believe the oud originally probably came from Mesopotamia, this sort of area, Iraq, what's known as Iraq now. And if you really listen, I'll just give you a demonstration. You can actually hear a little bit how that would sound.
Like an oud.
And then, of course, over the years, we've developed that a little more. Yes.
Adam, where were you when I got married?
I was probably on the radio reading the weather.
Where were you, man? I needed you in my wedding. Now it's too late for that, man.
What would your first song been if I played for you on the wedding? Yeah. So you can see that's, and yeah, of course, in answer to the question, the oud came up. I was, I had the pleasure of
play Cat Stevens.
Oh yeah, I love Cat Stevens. Yeah.
World, oh baby, it's a wild world.
La 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 la. La 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 la. La 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 la. Now that I've lost everything to you, see you wanna start something new, and it's breaking my heart you're leaving. Baby, I'm grieving, but if you wanna leave, just take good care. Hope you make a lot of nice friends out there. Just remember there's a lot of bad, and beware. Sing along. Oh, baby, baby, it's a wild world. It's hard to get by just upon a smile, girl. Oh, baby, baby, it's a wild world. Girl, I'll always remember you, but like a child, girl. Shukran.
Adam,
Yes,
can you
brother.
please send us the location of your house? We'll come and continue the party at your house.
Okay. I'll break out the halwa and coffee, shall I?
It's been amazing, Adam, to have you on the show. You've been a sport, mashallah. You're a man full of talent, and we love you, Habibi.
Thank you so much,
And
Habib
we'll
Ali.
always listen to you on the radio, and I'm sure a lot of people out there are very much inspired by you, listening to your voice early in the morning, giving us the vibe and the energy. And may Allah bless you, man, and keep you safe. And hope to see you at the radio station, man.
Hatim and Ali, it's really been a real pleasure. I've really enjoyed it. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thanks to actually getting to know you. I think maybe I should start listening to the radio more often, especially in the morning. And Hatim, I like you too, man. I was just joking with you at the beginning, man. Don't take it personally, man.
Yeah, right.
Thanks a lot, Adam. Thanks a lot, and pleasure knowing you.
Thank you, guys.
Take care of yourself. Take care.
Ma salama. Ma salama.
Ma'as-salama. So, Hatim.
Yes, Habibi.
Yet another talent, man.
You got the old memories back, Ali.
Oh man, tell me about your memories. I'm very curious to know.
Anyways, Habibi, take care of yourself. It was a good show today, and see you next week.
See you next week, and please like and share this episode. And if you have not subscribed, to please do subscribe and hit that indication button so you can get all the notification from Ummati Station. Thank you very much, Brother Hatim.
Assalamu alaikum. Take care.